How did you get a high school bully to never mess with you again? A group of sociopaths from my school that always tormented us followed me and my friends to my house one day in a pickup truck. They stole my friend's shoes, pushed one of them until she fell, took my sketch pad, and threw it in a puddle. My stepbrother came outside, beat one of them badly, stole his pants, and threw his keys into a sewer grave before hitting him with an empty vodka bottle. It's traumatizing for me on both ends, but that group of kids never even looked at us again. She told me my face made her want to kill herself. So I told the school counselor that she had confided in me, she wanted to kill herself. She had to explain to everyone what she really said. She would call me fat, ugly every day. She also would tell me I was trash because I was adopted. Your mother thought you were so ugly she didn't want you. Challenged him to a fight at lunch, left during the period before lunch to move 800 miles away. Weirdly, became friendly with his dad, who ripped him in front of me, and won. Vomited all over him. After that he never messed with me again. Made friends in the football team. Bullies think twice when you are buddies with a 6'2", 250-pound Samoan. Crazy how nice so many Samoans are. Half my class beat the asterisk out of him. It's nice to have lots of friends sometimes. I kicked him hard in the balls in the middle of history class sophomore year. He had all of the guys in our grade moo at me in the hallway when we changed classes. I put up with it for a week until I snapped and started beating the asterisk out of him with my history book. Got him up against the wall and kicked him as hard as I could. Legit don't remember kicking him, but I remember my foot was sweaty, which snapped me out of it. The teacher made us both go in the hallway and explain what happened, so I told him everything. Surprisingly, I never got in trouble. The next year I had to sit behind him in homeroom, and one day he just randomly turned around and apologized. I apologized for kicking him, and he said he totally deserved it. Senior year I made everybody in the class Christmas ornaments with all our names on them, and he got all teared up when he got his. So, not a bad ending. Well, I hit her with a brick, so that taught her a lesson, not to asterisk with me. I went too far. Graduated. I grew up in a rough area. Fortunately I was attending the same school as my older brothers who would look out for me. For a while I had been targeted and picked on by a particular individual, and his entourage would cackle like hyenas every time he pulled my tie, kicked my shin or shoved me. I had no idea who these bullies were, but I was a geeky kid, so I can only assume he'd seen me as an easy target. So, after relentless bump-ins with this guy, he took things too far and shoved me down a long flight of stairs at the school. I was only a little hurt, but pretty shook up, as I heard the echoes of his friends laughing and walking down the hallway. I immediately went to find my brother and ask him if he could beat up my bully. My brother walked around school with me trying to find where this guy would hang out at lunch. Once we found him, my brother said to me, "You go and beat him up." I was pretty taken aback, because I thought he'd agree to fight him for me. Again, I was a geeky kid. I started to back out. When my brother said, "Fine, let him bully you." Suddenly I was back in. But I didn't know how to fight. "I've got your back, don't worry," my brother said, trying to reassure me. So I walk up to the guy and just start hitting, and I hit him a lot. The next thing I know, he's on all fours, and the adrenaline is running through me. I'm expecting his group to retaliate and beat the asterisk out of me. I'm slowly starting to think this was a terrible idea, but they don't. They're just shocked. Completely stunned. So the adrenaline is just pumping, and all I can think to blurt out is, "Kiss my shoe." Now, in my head I'm thinking this is some movie level all eyes on me moment, and I'm killing it. My bully on the floor looks up and says, "What?" I replied, "Kiss my asterisk shoe," again thinking I'm a gangster. And he does. He kisses me shoe and I beeline it towards my brother. As we are walking away together, my brother was incredibly proud of me for sticking up for myself, but leans in and says, "You really got to work on your asterisk talk though. Why the asterisk did you make him kiss your shoe?" Besides the incredible cringe asterisk talk, they never bothered me again. Although I did get asterisk from other bullies. Played the crazy card. My cousin started dating his the bully's sister, and I guess he didn't like that. So he came after me. It escalated more and more to the point we nearly threw down in the middle of class one day, but the teacher stopped us. She made me stay after class and talked me down, saying she knew he instigated it and I wasn't the problem, but she couldn't have this exploding in her class again. Which I felt was fair of her. A couple days later, as I was getting stuff at my locker, he was standing behind me when I turned around and slapped my books out of my hand and said, "Let's go." I rolled my eyes at him, held up a finger, and said, "Just a second." I then turned around and started hitting my head against my locker. The great thing about an empty steel locker is that you don't have to hit it very hard for it to make a big sound. So while I was really not hitting it that hard, to him, it looked and sounded like I was just wailing on it. After a few of those, I spun around and screamed at him to come at me. His eyes went wide and he just backed away slowly in front of everyone in the hallway. And never messed with me again. Hid behind a corner and punched him in the stomach. He eventually became my best friend too, so go figure. Hit him in the face with a water bottle. For some reason I couldn't stand up for myself, but he started bugging my friend. It was during after school band practice, which my mom forced me into anyway. I already didn't want to be there. For some reason him teasing my friend just made me slug him full force in the face with said plastic water bottle. That got other students and the teacher involved. Didn't bug us again. Middle school. The bully challenged me to a fight after school. I told him to meet me on the soccer field, which happened to be visible from where my bus home would park. I made sure to get out of school as quickly as possible and sat on the bus so I could clearly see the field. As I expected, he never showed up. Next day at school I announced loudly so several classmates could hear, "Jason, you never showed up for our fight. I waited there after school and you never showed up. You are a ref $and %chicken." That was the end of the bullying. I always punched my bullies square in the nose. Sure, they may kick my ass, but I was more than willing to dish some pain out while receiving it. After a few times, they went after targets that didn't fight back. They want easy control, and they are just as afraid of pain as you are. Every new school was another bully. Let one person walk on you and everyone will walk on you. Either make boundaries or be a doormat. Don't be afraid of consequences. That's how bullies keep you in control. Just start swinging. I didn't lol. I fought back, got my ass kicked. I ran, he'd wait for me somewhere else and get my ass kicked. I fought back successfully once and it just made him and his friends jump me and my friends. Now he takes my sweaty towels from me at the gym, so I make sure to make them as gross as I can. I ran, he'd wait for me somewhere else and get my ass kicked. I fought back successfully once and it just made him and his friends jump me and my friends. Now he takes my sweaty towels from me at the gym, so I make sure to make them as gross as I can. I pulled a piece of hair out of her head and smacked her face against the ground. Later on I heard she liked me, which is why she messed with me for 2 years before I had enough. A friend of mine was being bullied at school decades ago, and after a few days of it, he stood up to the bully and said, "Listen. If you keep doing this, we are gonna fight. And you may beat me, but we are gonna fight again, and again, and you're going to have to fight me every day until you leave me alone." The kid left him alone. Headbutt, broke his nose. Got expelled today, but I'm really happy I did. I don't remember him bullying anyone else after this. Not a bully per se, but a asterisk. In my French class, the guy who sat behind me would always kick my chair repeatedly, and I was at the point where I was visibly infuriated by this happening every lesson. The girl who sat next to me turned to him and said, "Hey, you should probably stop doing that. He looks like he's about to hit you." Guy laughed it off and said I wouldn't. I didn't, but I turned around and cocked my arm back. He was leaning back on the hind legs of his chair with his feet on mine, so when I did this, he flinched, fell backwards off his chair, and got a few laughs from the people behind us. He never kicked my chair after that. I told him that if he ever talked to me again, I would stab him in the eye. A bully was harassing my daughter on the bus. Instead of calling his folks or jumping on him, I did this. I pulled him aside at the bus stop one day and asked for his help. "Hey Danny, I was hoping you could help me out. I guess there's a kid on the bus who is picking on my daughter. She's a girl and small, and I'd like for you to help protect her. If you see anything like that, could you stick up for her please, and let me know about it?" That was the end of the bullying. Hit him. Don't do it fairly either. Load your book bag with loose rocks and clobber him from behind. I was a real psycho as a kid, so don't listen to me, but basically I made a reputation for myself as too bizarre to mess with, cause all my retaliation were either extremely violent or inappropriate, like sending people pictures of themselves doing mundane things or taking one piece of mail from their box a day. Two options: have evidence and report them to the principal/admin, or beat the crap out of them. I got a guy expelled and sent to the continuation school, and probably *** up his life because he stole hundreds of dollars from me over a period of 2 years in middle school. I think telling my 9th grade biology teacher to tell the bullies to stop worked. I recall when I graduated elementary school and moved on to junior high school, most of the kids in my class came from a different school. As a shy outsider, I got shunned by pretty much everyone. One kid took that as an invitation to start picking on me. I probably could have just punched him, but didn't like fighting. I did like to draw, so I began drawing horrible cartoons depicting him as this fat gluttonous idiot who would inevitably end up mutilated by the end of the story. Those cartoons became extremely popular in the class, and that kid ended up having a really *** time at school. Looking back on it with adult eyes, it definitely went too far. He grew up with all those kids, but he wasn't popular, and I think he thought bullying me would finally be his way in with them. After the cartoons, they all ended up bullying him to the point he didn't come to school for a couple of weeks. Part of me regrets what happened, but the other half of me still feels he got what he deserved. I guess the final lesson in all this is, kids are assholes. Sometimes you just have to act crazy and stand up for yourself. No fear. Workout. He probably never expected the skinny kid to get jacked. Well, first I grew several inches and put on 35 pounds of muscle. Next time he gave me ***, I challenged him to a fight after school. He didn't show and never bothered me again. Probably a good thing. He was still bigger than me. My best buddy, Sal, was a little guy that kept getting picked on. I was one of the biggest, strongest kids in my school. My other buddy, Roy, was also one of the biggest, strongest kids in the school. One day Roy and I waited outside a classroom for Sal and saw his bully picking on him. Roy and I had a conversation with that kid. The kid walked with a limp for a week and never even talked to Sal again. So, Sal just had big friends that worked for him. Every time I saw him, I would stop talking and stare directly into his eyes. I kept up for 2 years, and his descent into madness trying to mess with me was hilarious. He eventually gave up out of sheer confusion. I got fed up with it one day in the locker room. After being slapped, it made me so angry I busted the side of his head open with a combination lock. I didn't have any more problems out of anyone after that. Always stick up for yourself no matter what. I promise you will prevail. ************************************************************************* and they still treat me like crap, and they still treat me like crap. Suppose that's family for you. He wasn't violent or anything, so I simply ignored him. He stopped after about 2 weeks. I fed his parents to him in a chili. This guy harassed me for 2 years while I was going to middle school. He would try to cut my way and try to kick my ass every **** day. One day he came with few more kids a few years younger than us and challenged me to fight. I said okay, threw my bag to the ground and put myself in a defensive position. He tried a few kicks, a few weak punches, and I blocked all of them with the techniques I learned from watching kung fu movies. I never tried to hit him, just blocked. After a minute or so I said, "You are boring, I'm going home." I picked up my bag and went home. Never heard from him again. He took a swing. I ducked. I pushed, shoved him against a wall of lockers as hard as I could. He bounced off and came back wildly swinging. I ducked again, repeated the shove even harder. This time he slowly kind of slid down on his butt to the floor. I pointed a finger at him and said, "Stay down." Never bothered me again. Administration tried to suspend me over it, and my father went down and raised hell. Carlo got suspended, I did not. This was 1983, BTW. Kicked him in the nuts quite violently. He wasn't really my bully, so to speak. I was just an easy target and just hit my boiling point on that day. I was being held from behind. The moment I was released, I turned around and delivered the hardest kick I ever did in my entire life. Shame I couldn't do the same to someone else who tormented me for a good 2 years. I was the only goth metal chick in a backwater village where the last bus left at 20:0 p.m. So you can imagine all the Satanist **** I had to put up with. I also went with the crazy card. I was carrying a pocket knife with me all the time. I cut myself with it. Couldn't bear the thought of someone touching it. And then this one time I was walking down the hallway and I heard that little **** yelling Satan behind me. So quick as lightning I turned around, grabbed him and was pressing my pocket knife against his neck, hissing that *****, cut him if he doesn't shut up. He did. And the other dude kept bullying me, and after school I decided to approach him and ask him to stop. He kept threatening to punch me. In the end he did, and I just saw red. I kicked his knee and pretty much just buried my nails in his neck. They had to pry me off him, dig out every nail solely till I let go. Dude came home looking like a grater was applied to his neck. Nobody wanted to mess with Crazy after those incidents. Told him if he ever touched me again I was going to break his nose. He pushed me. Without hesitation I swung on my back leg off balance, caught him in the chin. We both went after each other, and a friend of ours broke it up. 2 weeks later he was asking me to sign his yearbook and never bothered me again. This was 25 years ago. I yelled really loud in the school cafeteria. "Kevin, I'm not gay. Stop asking me if you can see my **** after school." Everyone heard it and looked at him. Everyone thought he was gay after that. That wasn't a label anyone wanted back then, true or otherwise. He never even looked my direction again. Kicked him in the balls. Through E7-9 in secondary school I was beaten/ganged up on frequently because of my German connection, and the area I live in, London, was blitzed. Was told by my mother to take the hits and let the school sort it. School didn't sort it out. So she told me to let loose. I went crack and broke some noses, one arm, and fractured a few ankles. Stamping their ankles works every time. That was in one fight. I fractured my wrist, lost a tooth, got a few scarrings on my lips from hits. They left me alone at school from then on. But no. I wasn't finished. When outside of school, I saw a few on their own, or with their family. I went in for the kill, so to speak. Needed to finish what I started. When in groups they think they are invincible. On their own they were scared little piglets. Idiots didn't think what could go down outside the school grounds, where the school has no power. If the bully has a single mom, I think we all know the answer. Heck, even go for the single dad for extra points. Move to a different country. Got my black belt, didn't have to do anything to him. He saw me practicing in the park and never bugged me again. Impulsively decided to revenge, pants him in front of a group of 35 or so peers. His boxers came off with his pants. Bonus, he had a teeny weenie. Anytime he would try to mess with me after that, I would just scoff and say I'd be trying to compensate for something too if my asterisk was that tiny. I finally laughed when they made fun of me. Pissed them off. Got really fluent with sarcasm too. He tried to shove me down an embankment while on a field trip. Had I fallen, I would have broken my leg or worse, because the embankment ended about 25 feet down and dropped off into some deep brush and trees. Anyhow, my best friend was next to me and said watch it as he came at me. I sidestepped him and he tumbled down the embankment and over the edge into the brush. Fractured several ribs, dislocated his shoulder, and broke his ankle. He never did anything to me again. You Darren. You bitch. Fought back. I cannot claim I always made a great show of it. By demonstrating I had the will to fight back against bullies or authority in general, I think I presented myself as a target who was more trouble than he was worth. I was also one of the 3 kids in my school who regularly wore a trench coat when Columbine happened. It was my junior year. Kids who knew me knew I wasn't that kind of threat. But faculty and kids outside my year remained suspicious for the rest of my time in school. Not the way I wanted to end my troubles with bullies at school, but it did the trick. Broke his skull. It was completely by accident. It was 6th grade. I was outside the bathroom and the bully decided to push me around. Literally, he pushed me down and just laughed at me while I was on the floor. At that moment I decided enough was enough, so I got up, pinned him against the wall, and started threatening him if he didn't leave me alone. Then this asterisk dared me to do something about it. So I did. I punched him as hard as I could. His head bounced back directly into the tile wall and the impact cracked his skull. I still vividly remember the pool of blood when he fell to the top ground. He survived, but he nor any of his friends ever messed with me again. You hit them with something from ambush up front. Bullies want easy prey. They avoid actual fights or victims that retaliate and escalate generally. I was bullied for my wheelchair, so I ran their feet over. Nothing a fist to the nose can't fix. I was nice to them. Yeah, it worked. He used to yell at me and call me names, and one day I smiled at him. He's liked me ever since. Asterisk his GF worked out for me lol. Started rugby in grade 10. Stood up to him in grade 11, and he got mad, and he tried to kick me. I was almost 6 foot by then but always tall and weak. Well, training for rugby sort of fixed that a little, so when he kicked me, I caught his foot and I let it go. It was above my head. He fell backwards and landed on the back of his head. He never talked to me again. I love telling this story. Bully was our neighbor in elementary school. We moved to a bigger house and didn't see him again until high school sophomore year 2nd semester. After schedules changed with the semester, we would pass each other in the hallway. The first time, we just noticed each other. Then over the next couple of days he would shoulder bump me, then tried to push me and start a fight. I guess he got tired of trying to get me to start the fight, and finally he threw his backpack on the ground, grabbed my shoulder, and tried to do an uppercut type punch to my stomach. What he didn't know is that I had been doing karate/kickboxing for 6 years at that point, and regularly sparred with adults. I tightened my abs, and he rolled his wrist hard. I saw tears in his eyes, and I just started laughing uncontrollably. He quickly grabbed his backpack he had thrown on the ground before punching me, and ran off with his friends. He must have decided to go a different way after that, because I never saw him again. My high school bully was the ex-boyfriend of my first girlfriend. He didn't even want her back. He harassed me and pestered her just to spite me. Anyway, he graduated, went to the army, and about a year later he killed himself. His Facebook page is now flooded with suicide awareness stuff, and I want to feel bad but I can't. He was a **** 4 years, used to even fist fight his girlfriend in the halls. Just the worst person I've even met in my life to this day. I either befriended them, or befriended other kids who are bigger/stronger, and didn't mind protecting me. In my experience, most bullies are lonely and sad. I would just try to make them laugh, and that usually worked. That said, it doesn't always work, and you have to stand up for yourself sometimes. One time in elementary school, 2 kids who liked to bully other kids took my lunchbox and started playing monkey in the middle with it. I played along for a minute, running back and forth, but it just kept going. So I looked at the kid who currently had my lunchbox and said, "You give it back, or I'm going to come after just you. If you throw it to the other kid, I'm not going to chase after my lunchbox, I'm just going to tackle you with everything I have." Both kids laughed. I walked over to get my lunchbox and he threw it to the other kid. So I started sprinting at the kid who threw it, like I said I would. Tried to run away, while yelling I don't have it, but I tackled him to the ground, which knocked the wind out him. After I stood up, I looked at the other kid who has my lunchbox. He just walked over, gave it back, and said sorry. A swift punch to the gut that left him breathless on the ground, and just walk away saying I can do more next time. It wasn't high school, but it was summer camp, and I was about 8 or 9 years old. The slightly older kid was always a huge bully, just totaled back for nothing. I went home and told my dad about it, and he said next time he does something, punch him in the face, and if you do, I'll take you to a baseball game. Next day at camp I was minding my own business on the 4-square line. He came up and said something, and I punched this **** right in the face. He was shocked, never said one bad thing to me ever again, and let me cut him in the 4-square line in my next turn. It was actually a great life lesson on how to stand up for yourself. I didn't start going around picking on kids or needlessly beating people up. I never was bullied again. And yes, my dad took me to a ball game.